Hello, everyone. Hopefully that's worked. I've got a 3, 2, 1 countdown. So yeah, I hope I am live. Do let me know in the chat if you're with me at the moment. Oh, what's that? Some funny message. I'll just get rid of that. Oh, I don't understand. No, that's not right. Hang on. Oh dear, I've lost you. If only I was. If only I had some idea that actually I knew what I was doing. Completely lost my screen. Where is it? Oh, there we go. I managed to click something to try and get rid of a strange message that was coming up, and I lost the screen. There's no hope. Oh dear. Anyway, I am a little. I'm going to apologise at the start, and I'll keep apologising through. But unfortunately, there is a lot of noise here today, and I hope it's not too distracting for you. We're having some logs delivered, and obviously they have to throw them as hard as possible into the wheelbarrows to cut them through. So apologies for any noise you've got in the background. That's not good. But yeah, I'm going to drink my coffee before we start. How is everybody? I know it's lovely when people join me in these chats and let me know where you're from. So that's great. But I don't actually see what you're making. So yeah, why not join me on Thursday at my live Craftalong? The stuff that you need was out last week, but I'll give you time on Thursday to get it if you need. You just need a set of DSP and some cardstock that matches. That's all you need, and a bit of basic white. So just bring that along on Thursday to the free Craftalong. And I hope you have signed up for my emails, because then you'll have had the list of what you need so you can get it all cut and measured beforehand. Anyway, apologies for the noise outside. It is our logs being delivered, and they are being rather noisy, so I apologise if it's distracting. I can't do anything about it, I'm afraid. We do need the logs for next winter for the fire. So I hope it's not too distracting. Right, how is everyone? Let me know where you're from if you are here. I'm going to just swap my view to my craft desk, if I can make that happen. Margaret, hello, nice to see you. That's good to see you here. I'm glad you could make it again. Oh, my coffee, I better just get rid of that. So again, apologies for the bangs outside. I keep hearing them. They're distracting to me. Goodness knows what it's like for you. I do apologise. Anyway, we are going to use this gorgeous DSP today. I make no apologies for keeping using it, because it, dear heavens, what was that? Oh, it is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm using some of this gorgeous gold and very vanilla sheets, but you've also got the green and gold, you've got the background to it, we've got bells. It is so gorgeous. Dots, sprigs that fit the dies that go with the suite. This is the suite, the Season of Green and Gold suite. I mean, it really is. This paper is just to die for. These gold diamonds. And then we've got more bells and sprigs, and this lovely spriggy, very vanilla and gold sheet. So definitely worth getting. I've already got 2 or 3 packs. I might get some more before it goes, because it really is gorgeous. But I've got too much DSP. I really mustn't. Right. So let me show you what we're going to make today. And it is this. This is a fan card, and it folds up to go in an envelope. And I'll talk about how you need to be careful about the width for this bit so that it does fit in one of our envelopes. You don't want this too high either. That's the other thing to watch out for, but I'll go through it and tell you about that. But what do you think? Isn't this rather beautiful? Now, I saw it first. Liz Shannon actually made it, but she only had inch measurements. It's also got a base that means it stands up, because it's quite top heavy, but I've got an extra base on. And again, I'll teach you how that works. A little bit of DSP here, very little stamping in this. In fact, all of the cards I'm making at the moment seem to have very little stamping, which is not a bad thing, because sometimes my stamping isn't brilliant. So the only stamping for this card is for the greeting panel there. I've also just put a spare greeting panel, if you like, on the back. So that's where I will write when I'm sending this card to somebody. And these are cut out using the gorgeous Spotlight on Nature dies, but any circle dies or a circle punch would work just as well. So whatever you have for those, The greeting itself, season's greetings, it's from this set, the greetings of the season. And this does come as a bundle with these lovely dies. So you could, this one always falls off. I really must do something about trying to stick it back on better. It comes with these lovely dies. So you could use one of those on the front as well. I didn't because I don't think these shapes necessarily match the card. I think you need either a circle or equally a square set as a diamond would also work well. So it doesn't really matter what these are. I've used the circles, the spotlight on nature. So let me show you how to make this card. It's a lot easier than you think. So loads of bits. Let me just go through them all. So Liz Shannon that originally made this card, that piece is for the envelope. I'll show you how I'm going to use that to decorate the envelope in a bit. She just gave the measurements in inches. And they are going to be on my website blog. So if you want to, after this video, you can go to the website blog, craftycarolscards.co.uk. Nearly forgot my website then. It's the noise outside, it's distracting me. And all the instructions and the measurements are there, but I will go through what you need. So to make, let me put those bits to the side there for the base. I'll talk about those in a minute. But to make the fan bit, you need 2 pieces of card, and one of these pieces is 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres or 4 inches square, and the second bit is 10 centimetres by 8 centimetres or 4 by 3. And we are going to cut those up. And to match those, we've got 2 bits of DSP. So the large bit is 9.4 by 9.4. And the second bit is 9.4 by 7.4 centimetres. So the large bit in inches, 3.5 inches, smaller bit 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches, or as I said, 9.4 by 7.4. So we need to cut those up in a bit. I've already die cut my circles for the card, and the other bits you need are for the base. So for the main piece for the base, this piece is 18 centimetres by 10 centimetres, or 6 by 4 would be fine as well for inches. And the extra piece that I've used to add a bit of weight and stability, this is 12 centimetres by 10 centimetres, or 4 by 4, and we're going to score those. And for the base, you need 3 or 4 bits of DSP. You can put one on the back as well if you wish. I didn't on this, but you could put one on this piece too, if you wanted. I just thought it looked better, completely mossy meadow. So for these, the 3 bits you need, these are all 9.5 centimetres by 2.5 centimetres, or 3 3/4 inches by 3/4 of an inch in inches. So hopefully that's all the bits we need. I'm going to start off by drinking my coffee because otherwise I let it go cold, and I hate cold coffee. Why is that not actually straight? Oh, that's better. Sorry if that made your eyes go funny, but I just realised it wasn't actually straight on the desk. That's even better. Right. Okay. Oh, that's better. I needed that. I'm finding it a little bit difficult at the moment. My mum's not very well, so I'm round hers every 2 minutes, which is, yeah, exhausting. But hey, that's what is needed. So, right, what are we going to do with these? Well, the other bit of tool you need for this card is a pencil. Pencil, really important. So the first thing we're going to do is mark this halfway along. This is a square piece, so it doesn't matter which bit you do. So either 4 inches or, as I say, 10 centimetres. So you're going to mark at 5 centimetres, working in centimetres, or 2 inches if you're working in inches. And you just want to put a little pencil mark using the guide, using the blade, where the blade goes to cut. Just come down and make a little pencil mark on the card there. If you want, you can then draw a pencil mark between that mark. Oh, an old bit of tape. Let's get rid of that. Between that pencil mark and this bottom corner, and the same this side if you wanted to draw those. I find it just as easy, to be honest, to use the guide on my trimmer. So I put the pencil mark right against the cutting guide, and then I put the corner against the cutting guide like that. Make sure that this is at the top, because we don't want it to come up through a point. That will always end badly. And I'm simply going to cut that piece off. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it and do the same between the point with the mark and the other corner. So again, I'm lining them up in the track. This time, because both are points, I don't want to bring my cutting blade over the top. So I have that in the middle, and then I can cut up and down to make sure my cuts are beautiful. So you end up with 3 pieces that look like that. So the next thing, and I've forgotten to get my, oh, I've lost my rubber. Where is my rubber? There it is. So the next thing is just get rid of the pencil mark. We don't want that showing. Thank you very much on our nice card. It won't really show, to be honest, because that bit's buried in the card and these bits are buried behind the other. But anyway, I like to just get rid of the pencil mark. So we want to keep all 3 of those pieces. Put them to this side like this, and I'll show you how we use them in a minute. Hopefully you can still see them. I still think it's not straight. Anyway, never mind. I can't work out how to straighten it. So we're going to do exactly the same with this one, but this time it's important we measure halfway along this short edge. So this is 3 inches for inches. It is 8 centimetres, so I need to make the mark at 4 centimetres. So place my card so the edge is at the 4 centimetre mark, and then just use my pencil, come down that channel, and if I keep my pencil sort of angled in that channel, I know my mark is in the right place. And we're going to do exactly the same thing again. So making sure that the point and the mark are in the channel there. Straight down to cut off that corner, turn it round and do the opposite cut. And again, we have these pieces. So we also need to cut the DSP, but we'll do that in a minute. We're going to cut it in the same way, but I want to go through how we're going to use these pieces, because, just get rid of those pencil marks, because we need to make sure we've got them all in the right way. So first of all, I'm going to turn them round because the fan points downwards. Well, actually, I'm going to turn that bit round, and then I'm going to turn the whole thing round, and then these ones, I'm going to turn that way round so they look like that. Same with here, turn the whole thing round. This central triangle, put it to one side, we're going to use it later. Then turn these back, and these are the rest of our fan. So that's the fan all laid out, but we're going to overlap everything. But the first job is to stick down the DSP on all of that. So let's cut the DSP next. So we do this basically in exactly the same way as we've just done the fan. We're going to mark in the center. So this piece is 9.4 by 9.4 in centimetres, or 3.5 inches. So I'm going to mark it at 4.7 centimetres, or 1 3/4 inches. So 4.7, the middle tall line is 5. So we want 2 little tiny lines up from the 5, 4.7, mark it in the middle. Now this paper is not directional. If you had a directional pattern, this sort of next piece is sort of directional, so I'll show you what I mean on there. You want the direction so it's upside down when you make the mark. You want the top of the direction pattern at the bottom of this where you're making your mark, because of the way we're sticking it on. So again, make sure they are both in the channel, both marks. Same this way. And that gives you a piece for the center and 2 pieces for the biggest side pieces. Now, if you wanted, you could cut 2 pieces of DSP for that, and then you could reverse the pattern. As it happens, the pattern on the reverse of here is very, very green. So yeah, I don't want to use that. So we're going to stick with those. I'll show you another trick so you're not wasting DSP, because that would use 2 pieces of DSP. You'd end up with quite a lot of waste, but I'll show you another trick about that in a minute. So this second piece, 9.4 centimetres by 7.4. So I need to mark it at 3.7 this time, or 1 1/4 if you're working in the 3.5 by 2.5 inches. So 3.7, same thing. The middle line going up is 5, so 2 little blobs, 2 little lines above that. Now, I did say about direction. This paper does have some direction. It has an upwards there, so I need to turn it round before I actually put the mark, because no, actually I don't, because I'm not going to use a centerpiece on this. Forget what I said. For this big piece, it's important that the direction is upside down. For this one, you actually want it upside the right way up, because you're going to use the side pieces. You're not actually going to use the middle piece. So I do want it the right way up. So I'm going to just make my mark there as before and do the same cut as we've just done to cut off the triangles at either side. And then I'll show you my little trick. Okay, so this is the piece, this central piece here, we're not going to be using. That could be kept for another project, or you're feeling profligate, just chuck it away. Now, these pieces are all going to overlap. Now, these pieces aren't quite big enough for the centre bits here. However, this side of this triangle is actually going to be tucked behind here. So if you wanted, you could actually swap these around. The only thing you have to do is just trim the top so that it's level. Can you see how it's overlapping? So if I could do this, and it's going to be fiddly because I've got to do a similar thing with this. This time I can just put this on and let it just overlap and then cut off down the side, because again we won't see this side. I think I will do it just to show you. So how I do this is, there's the point, that's the gap. So I want to mark the same level down on this side. So I'm going to put quite a heavy mark. I need to be able to see that. And the same on this side. That's my mark. I need it this far down. Put a mark on. And then I need to cut from that mark again to this tip. It just saves a little bit of DSP. You could just use two pieces and cut the sides off and do it that way, but it doesn't seem too bad to fiddle a little bit with this DSP. So I have my mark in the line, have my point in the line, cut that off, and that just straightens that enough for me to be able to stick it to this piece. Ooh. Do the same with this piece. So mark and point and trim. That's if you want to be fiddly. Otherwise, just put them on as they first cut out. Right, so now we have to stick all of these together. So I'm going to start with my middle piece. Oh, what's that? Show. What does show mean? I don't know. Oh, Yvonne, hello. You really enjoy the demonstrations. Oh, thanks, Yvonne. That's lovely. From London. Super. Emma, it's not intricate. I'm making it far harder than it need be because I'm trying to alternate my panels. If you're not going to be bothered, don't worry, because all of those just fit in the way I first cut them. You don't have to faff around, okay? So yeah, just ignore my faffing around. I just thought I'd try it and see if it worked, and it's going to work, but it's a little bit more fiddly if you want to alternate the panels, the pictures on the panels. So up to you if you want to do that fiddly bit or not. Okay, so we're just going to stick these on and making sure that the gap all the way on each side is the same. So this is my bastardized panel, I suppose, and I can stick it to the edge of this because these bits are going to be hidden anyway. And I'll show you what I mean in a bit. So I am doing it this way around. Or, as I say, just cut 2 bits of DSP at the 9.4 by 9.4 centimetres, then you wouldn't have all of this faffing. So, again, making sure the gap on the edge, the diagonal edge and the top is the same. And same with this one, I need to stick this on. I'm going to put glue on the actual piece because my DSP is bigger than my piece. And I will trim that down in a minute. So I'm just making this far more complicated. The instructions on the website are much easier, by the way. That isn't quite the right angle, so don't do this. It's a silly thing to do. It'll do for today. Stick with just doing the same patterns on the first 3 and then do a different pattern on the other, or cut yourself 2 bits of DSP that are sensible sizes. Oh dear. So the smaller bit of DSP is about fitting this these edge bits and I needed to just adjust those. It's the angle at the top is slightly different because of the width. The width of the paper is different. I'm probably just making this worse by trying to explain, aren't I? I'm going to shut up. It's not that intricate, Emily, honestly. It really isn't. Okay. Right. So we've got all our bits on. Why did that bit not look straight when the other one was? I have no idea. Anyway, it will do. I forgot to rub my marks out, but that's okay. So these are now too big, but I can just trim them down. Just by literally trimming, because you'll see that this edge does not matter. And I'll show you how to actually put the fan together. I think you should ignore all that faffing I've done. Just go with sticking the bits on as I first described them. So this pattern on the first 3 bits and a different pattern on the outside bits. So we've got all our pieces. So now we're going to make the fan. So we are going to stick, and this is why I say this doesn't matter, because it's actually going to be covered up behind here. Now, you can almost decide for yourself how big the fan needs to be, but if you want it to fit into our envelope, you need it to be no more than 6 inches. So I'm going to use my measure on here, put this in the center, so it's 4 inches, so it runs from 5 to 1, and then I can place these and get an idea of where I need to be to keep it to 6 inches. So that one, and then this one, no, this one. Get the right ones in. So it's the diagonal cut to the outside. So that should, yeah, that is going to be 6 inches. So I want them to overlap around that much. And the good news is that actually when you do that at the back, if you place this corner more or less at where it meets the top, you're actually in about the right place. So it's a good way to look at it. Just placing this corner so that it's nearly touching the top of the next piece. And then you know you've got these angles just about right. So a little bit of glue, put it on the main card, and then we can place this one. So we want the points together at the base, and then placing this so that it just sticks out a little way at the side. Okay. So something like that. It's about 1/2 inch-ish that it needs to stick out, something like that. And then we have the other one here. So have I got those? Yeah, I have the right way around there. So you can see they overlap by quite a bit. Can you see where those are overlapping there? See, they overlap by quite a bit, but it gives you enough of a fan. And because it's Tombow, you can play around with that a little bit. And then we want to put the other ones on the other side in just about exactly the same places, or as near as we can get them. So again, put the point to the point. That's a good place to start. And then this nearly touching that top, I want to get it the same angle as the other side, as close as I can. And then the same with the third bit. So actually putting this fan together isn't too bad. Making sure that overlaps. And before it actually dries, I'm going to check that it fits 6 inches. I'm actually going to try it against my envelope. That's always a good way to try it. Yep, and that fits in just nicely in the envelope. So you can use the envelope to test whether your fan bit is about the right shape. So does that make sense? Where are we? It looks great with the cream card behind to showcase. Yeah, it's very vanilla, and it absolutely, this is very vanilla is the colour that goes with this DSP, and I think it looks great. And I'm actually pleased I faffed around and got those to the side. I've got this one wrong. I haven't put it in the right place, but it's close enough. So we'll go with it. So the fan effect looks stunning. Thanks, Emmylou. I'll have to find your instructions. Yeah, it will be on the website later this afternoon. I just need to, because I put the video in the blog, I just need to get that all processed. So give me half an hour and it should be up, because the blog's written. It just needs to be published in a bit. So kind of Art Deco. Yeah, do you know, that's exactly what it reminded me of, that it was Art Deco. So I'm going to finish doing my fan first. And you'll remember I said, put this to one side, but don't get rid of it, because I thought the back doesn't look very nice with all of those bits. And you'll find that your middle fan bit can sit in the middle there and actually fill in some of those bits. I've still got a bit of a gap either side. I've obviously made this one slightly wider than I did my green one, but it just covers it up a little bit and builds up the bulk here so that when we stick the greeting panel on the back, it actually fits okay. So it's worth using this spare triangle just to fill in on the back, because otherwise there's quite a depth difference between the outside bits and the middle bit, which means it's difficult to stick anything flat. Whereas if I put this in, line it up at the top to make sure it's not sticking out. There we go. Put that down like that. Then when I stick the greeting panel on, it's flat. I can stick it on flat. And in fact, I can stick that on now. Now you want to stick this on fairly near the top, because I perhaps should have done another panel slightly bigger in a different colour just to provide some contrast, but I don't think it matters. I stick this one more or less touching the top of my fan. The reason is that because the fan sits in the base about there, you want to be able to see this bit to be able to write on it. And look, I'm getting dirty marks on things already. I'm very good at that. Okay, so that's the back of the fan. For the front, I've got another piece that's going to be my my bit on the front, and you can have this overlapping at the top a little bit if you want. Again, you can try it against your envelope to make sure. You're going to have this stuck in the base, so you don't want it overlapping by too much so that it fits in the envelope, but just a little bit at the top, almost just those last couple of decorations there is enough in my view. But this panel, I'm not going to stamp straight. I am going to emboss it because I think it matches the card better if I do some gold embossing on this. So embossing buddy first, as always. Then I've got my season's greeting and my Versamark. I was more prepared this week for my embossing. So ink up my stamp, put it in the middle, get my gold embossing powder, so I'm interested to know, what do you prefer, inches or centimetres? What do you prefer to work in? I'm interested, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm just going to emboss this while you fill in online and let me know in the comments. Ooh. So inches or centimetres to work in? Nobody's telling me. Come on, folks. Let me know, inches or centimetres. And there we have our embossing. So we could stick this on now. You could stick it on. I think I might use a couple of dimensionals actually, just for this one. I stuck this one on flat, but yeah, why not have a few dimensionals? Always nice. So as I said, I don't want to overlap it much, just a little bit of an overlap at the top there, and have it centrally on the front fan. So there is the fan bit complete. Okay, you don't mind both. Centimetres seem more accurate because it can go down to a smaller increment. That is exactly why I actually like centimetres. On the other hand, you can take inches down to a 1/16 of an inch. So yeah, it's probably not that different, is it? But I agree with you, Emily. I just like centimetres, which is why I've adapted this card to fit centimetres rather than the inches that I originally saw it in. Okay, so next stage is make the base. So we have our two pieces of card, as I say, 18 by 10 and 4 by 4. sorry, 6 by 4 and 12 by 10 or 4 by 4. If you want inches or centimetres, again, I'm going with centimetres. The big advantage of inches for me is I can use my scoreboard. I have actually got the metric board for it, but I don't know, I just like using my scoreboard with inches rather than centimetres. Anyway, I'm going to use my trimmer now because it's here. And we're going to score this every 3 centimetres. So I'm going to start by scoring this on the right-hand side because I can use this guide here to go to 3 centimetres. And then I'm going to turn it round. So I'm going to do it at 3, at 6, at 9. You just need to know your 3 times table for this one. At 12 and at 15. The other reason I prefer centimetres, it's at the top of the marker, and I find it easier to make sure that this is in the exact right place. So every 3 centimetres on that, the same on this one. So at 3 centimetres, then at 6. This time we just have the 3 creases, so 9 is your last one on this one. Okay. So now to make up the base. So we want to score all of these, fold the first one down. We're going to score them as a sort of accordion. So first one down, the second one up, and give them a really good crease as you do it, third one down. So that's my little base piece, which is actually going to be this way up. That's my base piece, it's a W. Same with this one, fold it down, the first one. If you like the posh terms, mountain, valley, mountain, valley. So a valley, another mountain. Making sure each time that when you fold it, the sides are equal, the sides are level here. You want to make sure they're absolutely stay level because otherwise it's going to be a bit wonky. And then a final mountain. So you have the base like that and the support piece like that. Now, for a lot of these types of card, you can just have panels stuck in them. They still make nice cards with panels, and that tends to hold its shape. But the fan, see if it'll do it if I just place it on there. This one's going to stand up, of course it is. But often they won't stand up and they start to sort of spread so that the base sort of starts to do that, which isn't a good thing. So that's why we've got this piece. This is optional. You don't have to use this, but I think it helps. Mountains and valleys remind you of Diana Ross. I don't think I know that. Oh, mountains high. Ain't no mountain high enough, that one. Yeah, okay. Right, let's stick some DSP on here before I get carried away and sing too much and put everybody off everything. So I'm going to have these as the patterns, I think. I've got an extra bit there, and we're going to stick them on, if you like, the forward-facing bits. So, or if you have it laid down, the first, the third, and the 5th panel. So we're just going to stick those down. I've got an earworm now. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley deep enough. Is it deep enough? Yeah. Anyway, stop singing. Right. So these bits all go in these places. Whoops. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Now, this is what we ought to do on my Craftalong. Yeah, I hope you can join me. My Craftalong on Zoom on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. We're going to make a Funfold card with an optional gift holder. Yeah, because I like Funfolds, as you can tell from today. So that is my fan base. As I said, if you wanted to, you could put another piece on the back, but I don't. And the reason I don't is that I think the card then, look, from the back, you've got the same colour there. I don't know. It's totally up to you, that one. So I'm going to stick this bit together before I stick the other base in, because I want to show you how we're going to measure this. So first things first, while it's flat, we want the pencil and pen again. Oops, ruler. There we go. Now we know that this is centimetres. That's better. We know that this is 10 centimetres wide, so the midpoint of that is, of course, 5. This is why I've done the, I think I need to, oh, my pencil has broken. I obviously need to sharpen it. Let me just do that. Oh dear. Must have broken when I did the other measurements because it was working there. Or perhaps I put something down on top of it. That's always an option as well. Oh, it has broken. Right, just give me half an hour just to... Sorry. That's better. I've got some pencil now. So I'm going to make a little mark at 5 centimetres. Just a little point there. Don't need to rub this one out because it's going to be hidden, because that is where we're going to place the point of this. So I'm going to turn it over, place the point at my mark, and then very lightly with a pencil mark just underneath this crease. I'm going to get it so that it's straight and the same each side. So I'm looking at the top here to make sure that it's level. And then I'm going to just use my, with my 12th hand, I'm just going to hold my ruler so that it's just under this crease, because then the mark's not going to show. I'm just going to draw a line across. And the reason for that is we only want to put our glue below that mark. And for this, I would use some tear and tape rather than the liquid glue, because I think it holds it better. So I'm just going to put quite a lot of tear and tape up to that line, but not beyond it. So I'm just going to put several strips on to make sure that it's going to really stick down there. There we go. And don't worry if your tape goes over a little bit like mine has here. I'm just going to press it down well. Take those pieces off. And any little extra bits at the side, this is the beauty of tear and tape. All you need to do is just push them back onto the bit where you've got it, so you haven't got any bits sticking out. And then this piece, make sure it's straight again and central, put the point on the point and stick it down. Am I happy it's in the middle? Yes, I am. So then I can press it down, and there is the fan card. Now we'll see if it does the spready bit. Ah, there you go. Can you see how it does this spready bit? Did I not? Oh, I didn't melt those bits of... Oh, no wonder it's come off. Right, a little bit of an adjustment. Honestly, these lives are all very good, but you see all the mistakes. Not a bad thing. So I'll just put a bit more. It's not going to stick now, is it? Because I've obviously had my fingers over it. Just enough. I just need to melt that bit again. I wasn't careful enough to make sure that all the bit had melted. That was very silly. So I've smudged the bottom of that greetings, but I think it's still legible enough. I could cut another piece and put it on top, but that's better. Always make sure that all of your embossing is actually melted. That's now okay. I've missed the bottom of the season as well, so luckily we're okay with that. But you can see, because of the weight on this, it does tend to collapse, which I don't like. So the extra base is a good idea. So to put the extra base on, this time we want it upright, so it's the W shape. And then I'm going to put some glue on the front and the back. Probably do one at a time, because otherwise I'm going to get glue everywhere. And this piece is going to go inside the current front piece. Okay, so stick that down. And the back is going to go inside the back. So again, glue on that upright bit, place it in the crease, making sure it's the same each side, and stick it down like that. Okay, so now it will still fold flat. Encourage it to find its way in there. There we go. So the middle, sorry, I should have pointed that out better. The middle bit of that just comes into the point here, and then just fold it down to squeeze it to make sure it's actually, there we go. Haven't seen a card like this. My mum loves Art Deco, so you may make one for her this afternoon. Oh, excellent. I'll make sure I get my blog up as soon as I possibly can. So then when it sits up, you can actually push this middle bit flat, and it just holds. Do you see how it holds it? It's not falling back anymore like it was before I put that base in. So that's why I like the base in this card. So there it is, my Season's Greeting fan card for Christmas. So just encourage that. Oops, don't bend it in the wrong place. There we go. So it will still fit in the envelope. And to finish off the envelope, why have I got two envelopes? Oh, that one's from the Season's Greeting one. That's why. That was from my other card. So to finish off the envelope, I thought I'd show you, I often stamp my envelopes, and I may well actually stamp the envelope with something or other, just to have something on the front, because otherwise I feel it's a bit bare. But I like to as well, another nice way to decorate envelopes is to actually put some DSP across the back flap. So I add the glue to the flap rather than the DSP. And then you can place the DSP across the flap, making sure it's lined up with the top. There we go. Press that DSP down, and then it becomes really simple to just trim round the edge with scissors, but you've got a nice decorated envelope. So really quick and easy way to do it. The only bad thing is 6x6 DSP isn't quite big enough to fit across the top of the envelope. You have to fiddle around and give it a border. I'll show you that one day as well, just to show you my trick for doing that and keeping it neat. So I've still got my gummed flap, but now it's a decorated flap. There. So there we have. If I open that flap as well, that's my Season's Greeting in the green and gold, and one in my, I've just got to bend that properly, there we go. And one for my gold. So there we go, two versions of the same card using that Season of Green and Gold suite. And I've got embossing powder everywhere. Oh dear, I'm such a messy crafter. But there we go. It's a lovely fan card. Thank you to Liz Shannon for giving me the idea. Thanks to me for working out the centimetres instead of inches. And yeah, I hope you like these cards and have a go, because they are fun to make, fun to do. And as I say, just with this extra base piece, they do, as you can see, stand up very nicely. I'll leave them like that so you can see them. So I'm really glad you're going to have a go, Emmylou. I just need to take my pictures of my cards, and I've made them, and pop them in the blog. And yeah, that will be up later this afternoon, hopefully within the next half hour. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that card. I did make it more complicated than it needs to be with the DSP. You can see with this one, just cut the DSP as I showed you and stick it on the 3 bits there. It looks fine anyway with that way around. Why am I showing it that way? Because you're there. So up to you if you want to be fiddly about these, or cut 2 lots of DSP and just trim them and use bits from each. That's the other way to do it. You can make 2 cards then, because you'll have 2 sets of pieces. Anyway, there are my cards. I hope you've enjoyed them, and I will see you again next Tuesday. So thank you for joining me today, and bye for now.